let you guys do a little quick 1 minute wrap up of what your presentation was about. And if any of our listeners have any questions, they can simply submit them in the chat. I'll let
Presentation was a spiritual wellness, and it was really just about I walked people through visualization of like how do we tap in with light from the universe, from the higher self, and also from the core of the earth, so that we can feel and trust ourselves. So it was really more of that, and then that embodiment calms us down. And when we can feel calm and can tune in and trust ourselves, then we can find the answers within, and we don't have to seek them elsewhere.
My presentation was a guide to mental health counseling. So we started with the steps for people getting therapy, what that looks like, and then we ended with safety planning. 'Tis the season to safety plan. Safety plan is not just limited to suicidal, homicidal thoughts, but just, people have a wealth of emotions around the holidays, and people tend to internalize everything. And this is a time when people need the most help. So safety plans kind of help you cope on your own before we get to the professional, which is me.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my presentation was pretty much, I always want to make sure that everyone is financial literate. And so our goal is really focus in on like the 7 money milestones. The book that, or company that I'm with is How Money Works. And so I can always drop that, or, everybody can get a free ebook, but mainly financial education is so important. And so we want to make sure that we're financial literate, protect our finances, our income, our savings. Always make sure we have an emergency fund set in place, figure out ways that we can make sure we look at our debt and debt management, spending habits, eliminate things that we don't need, cash flow if we need to additionally earn more income, building our wealth, and lastly, protecting our wealth. And that's just super important that we want to make sure that people are aware of when it comes to growing into the next level. Let's not be stagnant. Let's move forward.
Yeah, so my topic was physical wellness, and the three key practices that I brought up were sleep, diet, and movement, and how crucial it is to focus on those three elements, including having morning routines and evening routines, and really acknowledging and paying attention to what your body's trying to tell you. And that when you eat for nourishment, you also eat for recovery, and you also eat for healing. And I shared a lot of foods and alternative medicines for healing. And I offered a 30-minute session on creating a morning and an evening routine to help you stay consistent in your sleep, in your habits, in your movement, so that your body supports what you want to do in life.
So I walked through what it looks like to have a emotional wellness routine, and I talk about the why do we want to have that? I talk about the what, so creating space in your home or outside of your home to be able to tap into yourself and your own emotions. I talk about routines like journaling, meditation, setting mantras. And then I also lead into the truth, which is when we fall off of routine. What does that feel like in our body? That's really important because that is going to give you information that you're not doing so well, and give yourself grace. You start new the next day. And then I end with an exercise that I learned a couple of years ago at a spiritual retreat called the light and shadow exercise, where you look at every memory or event in your life in a balanced way. What are those positive emotions? What are those most challenging emotions? And really see it in a balanced way, because all of it is really important. Instead of wanting to shun our shadow or shun the hard times, really look at what it's teaching you in those lessons and how it makes you a whole person. And so, yeah, that was my presentation.
My framework is reflect, reframe, and respond. And that is life changing, but I chose to look at it in this time very situationally, to say when you're in the middle of this holiday stress and you may have conflict, whether it's at work or it's at home with family members, and you realize that somebody else now has your power because you have chosen to react, or not chosen to react, you've just simply reacted by the primal brain. Then how do you get back in control? And when you get back in control, it only works logically to if you have the right goals. And so I introduced the word respond and talked about what happens when we move from emotion to reaction. Well, good Lord, I didn't say it that way. I said when we move from emotion to response, but then making sure we have the right goals so that we can align and affirm and honor both people in the conversation or everybody in the conflict, not just try to win a point. And then we talked very quickly about a free gift I have, which is an assessment on how reactive people are, but also then has about 14 pages of ideas that you can start moving from reaction to response, and introduce my favorite tool, MRI, most reasonable interpretation, whether you believe it or not. If you choose to act that way with people, you will find that you can bring them into alignment with you.
So we talked about going from burnt out to fired up. And we did a couple exercises. First of all, we did a burnout assessment so folks can identify where they are in terms of the 5 stages of burnout. So we looked at that. We did micro breaks and how you can incorporate that even today in this session as they move from each session, taking a micro break in between so that they show up fully present and fully engaged in each session. We talked about really learning to align yourself with your purpose, because misalignment is one of the biggest causes of burnout in our lives. So we did a simple exercise to find out how do you align yourself with your purpose. And we did an exercise utilizing the Eisenhower matrix, because prioritization is the biggest cause of stress. We're trying to do everything and we can't. So how do we identify what we should be working on, what we should wait on, what we should delegate, and things that we should not even be concerned about? So we looked at that. And as a giveaway, I am giving a free download of a 5-step guide to setting audacious goals and achieving remarkable results. So folks can download that so that they can step into 2025 in their full wellness, full dimension of wealth and health and prosperity and everything that they're seeking in 2025.
These were your VIP coaches for this year's 10 Dimensions of Wellness Virtual Summit. They held breakout room sessions with one-on-ones with VIP ticket holders. And if you missed it, don't worry. You can always purchase the replay.